currently Sunday night, and since I don't have many hours left in the day, I've decided to focus on preparing for the upcoming week. I start off by writing down everything that needs to be done by this time next week. This helps me organise which days to dedicate different tasks to, be able to make sure everything is done by its deadline. The first thing I want to cross off this list is the creation of the city area. Now, since this is such a big task, I've split it down into subtasks. The first one is to plan out the city and how it will look once all the artwork is put together inside the game. I grabbed a piece of paper and a pencil and started sketching down some basic plans, just to give myself an idea of what I'm aiming for. I started off by grabbing a ruler and laying out the road system for the city. Though it's nothing special, it just helps me understand how much room I have to work with for all the buildings. After that, I used my top-notch skills from my design and visual communications course last year and drew in all the buildings. Now, this is probably one of the worst things I've ever drawn, but the main thing is now I have a plan and a basic idea of where I'm heading with this area. It doesn't need to be at all flash, it's just something I can quickly reference back to if need be. After this, I started importing all of the sprites that have been drawn for the city over the past couple of months. There are about 80 plus sprites I need to import in, so I just chucked my headphones on, got some good music playing, and went straight into it. It's now Monday morning, and as always I start off my day as early as possible to get on top of as much schoolwork before the school day even really begins. Been doing this for most of the, that lockdown thing. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I quickly grab some breakfast, some nice hot chocolate, and head back to my desk to get to work. It's been a solid 5 hours of schoolwork, and I'm pretty sure I just heard some thunder.
Just heard some thunder. So, does that mean lightning soon? Lightning and then the thunder, or is it lightning, or is it thunder then the lightning? I really don't know, I can't remember. I guess we'll see soon. Really? Still nothing? No, I'm done.
Okay, now that the storm is over, it's time for me to make some decent progress on my game. Now that I have a plan for the city and have all the sprites imported and prepared, it's time to set up each individual building and road as its own object. To do this, I basically need to create a prefab of every single sprite I've created for the city, and then copy in a heap of components to make it all work together. Once I have the required components, I can go through, change a few settings that are personal for that object, like how many points you get blowing it up, and how high the max altitude is for that specific building. Though this is a very time consuming task, the time went by very quickly, and before I knew it I was all done. I now only had 2 tasks to complete. 1, I have to finally create the actual area into the game, and 2, I need to do whatever polishing the area needs after a bit of testing. With only a few hours left in the day, I decided to push through and assemble the city area for testing tomorrow. First thing I do is put in all the roads, just like I did when drawing up the city plan. This proved to be very difficult and tricky, because I had to make sure all the roads were perfectly placed so there were no clipping errors and gaps in the road. This was very time consuming because I had to zoom in on each road piece and perfectly line it up with the prior piece. After I'd finished this, I began dropping in all the buildings. The main thing I was focusing on was trying to be as random as possible. I didn't want the city to have any noticeable patterns that may distract the player away from their task. About half an hour later I was all finished and started setting up all the sorting layers for the city, so each building would be properly seen when a player flies past. Things like buildings that are supposed to be a block back appearing in front of another building was very common, so I had to go through each object and just make sure they know where they are supposed to be exactly. I'm actually quite happy with how the city turned out. Only thing is, now it feels like the change between forest and city is way too frequent. This will just encourage me to create more areas into the game to make it feel like each journey you go on is unique. Now that, for the most part, the city has been finished, I powered everything off and went to get some sleep. Now it is Tuesday morning and I only have a few things left to do with the city, but before I do anything else I want to get some feedback on all the work I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. So I sent out a new build of the game to a ton of my friends to see what they all thought of it. As more and more responses come through, I start writing down all the main bits of feedback I receive. Now, only a few hours later, I have a long list of things I can do to make this game better. Only problem is, this list might just be a little too big.